What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV here. Massive game this weekend. Chelsea against Tottenham at Stamford Bridge. 12:30 kickoff on Saturday. How are you feeling about this one?
I'm hoping the VAR monitors are broken and Stockley Park gets hit by an asteroid. But outside of that, I'm nervous. You know me.
Yeah, I do know you. Obviously, I forgot to do the introduction, but this is Louis Beneventi. Most of you would already know him, our resident Chelsea fan. Let's get straight into it. Obviously, Chelsea have had a very up and down season this year.
Yeah.
Do you want to explain to me how your season has gone? Just how your season's gone, really.
Well, I think it's fair to say it was a season of transition. I think it was understandable that Frank Lampard kind of took on a semi-aging squad, which is now brought in with a bunch of youth players. Obviously, transfer ban kind of aided that process. We had it lifted. We didn't sign any players in January, which is something which I'm guessing was just because they planned for pretty much Chelsea to start making those moves in the summer, thinking that we wouldn't get it rescinded. But it's been an interesting season. I wouldn't say it's been a negative that it's been up and down. Some people disagree with that, but I'm not. I don't speak for everybody. From my perspective, it's a case of it was always going to be a free hit. I said that at the beginning. I wasn't going to waver from that because that wouldn't be fair. And in Frank Lampard's position, he's done a very, very good job. He's taken a side which I think a lot of people had written off for Champions League football, probably even European football. Yeah. And even though it's very close up there at the minute, we're still in for a shout of Champions League, and on top of that as well, we're in the knockout stages, and I don't think anybody expected that because we had a very tough group.
Yeah.
But we're here, we're doing our bit, and despite being up and down and our home form being terrible, we're still in for a shout. So it's been a good season, if you ask me.
Did you have many expectations coming into this season? Because obviously, like you said, new manager, transfer ban, very young squad. Were there any expectations? Do you think you're ahead of schedule?
I think some fans had expectations, but I think those are people which are very particular in their football knowledge, is the polite way of saying it, I think.
The Twitter crew.
Yeah. I mean, not all the Twitter crew. In fact, a lot of Chelsea Twitter has been very balanced in their perspectives, but there's been a fair amount as well which has been, it's always the minority that are being the loudest in terms of negative news. But I think I did not have any expectations. I thought that was completely unfair. You've got a young manager, a very young manager, had one season at Derby, played well with them. If you look at them this season in comparison, brought in a style of football they enjoyed, bred some great young players, and then he's come in and brought two of those lads, Mason Mount and Fikayo Tomori, with him, and developed a team. And you can sort of see where the good products are and the bad ones are as well. I mean, you look at it now. He's given plenty of you the chance, where it's now a case of you can see where the balance needs to be had. So you can go, okay, I've given you all a chance. Sorry, you're not good enough, but this is where we need to buy. And he's kept a very balanced squad as well, which is something which I think man management is a very underrated and undervalued asset in football and in life, if I'm honest, and emotional intelligence is as well. So I think it's fair to say, Frank Lampard has done a very good job this season, and it's just a platform for us to build on for me.
So obviously we spoke about the transition of how you've done this season since Jose Mourinho has come into Spurs. He come into Spurs when Spurs were 12 points behind Chelsea. Now the gap is 1 point. What has gone wrong in the last since Jose's come, really? Why have you dropped so many points?
I wouldn't say it's gone wrong. I think it's just been a fluctuation of results, which was expected. You've got, like I said, like we've been saying for the whole video, actually, it's a young squad, and you've put a lot of pressure on young players. I mean, Mason Mount, I think he's 2 years younger than me. He's 20, and he's playing week in, week out in the Premier League.
He had a blinding start to the season, Mason Mount, but he's kind of slowed down a bit now.
I think just because of the human body, I think that's completely justified. I think you have freaks of nature like Wayne Rooney who are just bashing him in for fun from the age of 16.
Yeah.
But it's one of those where I think with the level of football, and this is kind of the first season where I thought the winter break could have been, I could see it for myself. You can see how much high intensity has both mentally, how much impact it has mentally and physically, especially on young footballers. I mean, if you're a seasoned professional, you've been there, you've done it. But this is a completely different scenario, and it's obviously with the Premier League how it's developed over the past 20 years. you can see the physical nature and how much it's increased and how much more physically demanding it is and mentally demanding in comparison to what it was 20 years ago. But that's always going to be the case. So yeah, I think it's just interesting to see. I wouldn't say it's gone wrong. I think you've got a manager in there who he knows his stuff. He knows how to operate. He knows how to get stuff done. He's got a squad which obviously Pochettino. Me and you have been having this conversation for months. This Chelsea squad is in a similar position to what the Spurs squad was when Pochettino came in.
Yeah.
So now it's kind of a case of that Spurs squad has had that development stage, and they've now got a manager who knows how to win games, who knows how to win trophies, who's just bringing that mental side up as well. So it's one of those where, I just feel that it's just two different stages, and it will be interesting to see what happens.
For me, you're going to see what Frank Lampard's all about next season, to be honest. I think the first season is him just kind of sniffing out everything, seeing what's what. Next season in the transfer window, if he gets backed, like everyone says he's going to be backed, you're really going to see what minerals he's made out of next season.
I wouldn't even say next season. Personally, for me, I'd kind of look maybe February onwards next season. People might be going, what are you talking about? What's mental? Yeah, but if you look at all the good projects at football clubs, you see those. They have that 18 months, those 2 years to kind of implement.
Look at Pochettino, for instance. His first season, he was just feeling out everyone. He got all the deadwood, all the players he didn't want out at the end of that first season. And second season, you really saw his style proper implemented
exactly.
into the team.
Well, this is it. And I think you look at Klopp, look at Liverpool.
Yeah.
I mean, that's as much as I hate to say it, because I absolutely despise that club. That's how a football club should be run.
That is the blueprint for how clubs should be run, 100%.
Yeah. So it's kind of one of those where, look, I mean, if it's Chelsea, I don't think Lampard's going to get as backed as some people would think he could.
Yeah.
The next window, but I think considering that we've not bought players in the January window, which granted is very difficult to find that perfect player in January, it's more of a stopgap period.
Yeah.
But considering we haven't bought anybody in January, it's important that we consider our options and really go for it in the summer.
You say that you don't think that Lampard will be heavily backed, but why is that? Is Roman like running out of love for it all, or like what's going on? Because Chelsea obviously in the history have a history of going in hard in the transfer window. You haven't spent money in a very long time now, so why wouldn't you go hard again?
Well, I think it's just a different philosophy that Chelsea have gone for. I think Roman showed his cards over the first 10 years where we continued to sack managers.
Yeah.
And it proved to be difficult to build, but the only reason we were continuously good for that entire period was we had a spine. You had Cech, you had Terry, Lampard, Drogba, you had Ashley Cole, we had these players which understood the club.
Yeah.
We've got that now in these youngsters, but
they're not just there yet.
Yeah, exactly. This is what I mean. It's one of those where it's like, okay, football has changed, so Chelsea have to adapt to that as well. And there's teams with far more financial power than Chelsea. Even though we, as a club, there's no doubt that we open the door to having obviously big entrepreneurs coming into clubs and buying them out, rather than being the local lad. For example, Blackburn Rovers, local lad loves his club, buys it out, develops it there. We've opened it up to obviously internationals. You look at, there's clubs that are backed by countries, PSG, Man City.
Yeah.
I think Roman's kind of seen that, and also on top of that, if you look at it from a financial perspective, the guy's pumping millions, if not billions, into the UK economy, which has then gone, you know what, mate, we don't really want you, we'll see you later. So I think from a political perspective, which I don't want to bring into football,
no,
he's kind of there going, screw you, I'm not doing that. But it's one of those where I think we're just learning and we'll adapt, and we're going to find out what our blueprint is over the next few years if we keep it solid, if we keep Lampard and just slowly let it develop.
Moving on to the game, obviously both of us coming off the back of terrible results, really. You 2-0 at home to United, us 1-0 at home to Leipzig. How do you see the game going? Are you confident going to the game?
Oh, no. I think it's our home form. That's what worries me. And obviously it's Mourinho going to be going, right boys,
we all said that when you came to Tottenham, everyone's like, oh, Mourinho, he never loses against his old clubs, but then you beat us then.
Yeah, but I think it's different because we're at home this time.
Yeah.
On the road, I back Chelsea. Most of the time you're there going, do you know what, I think we'll do a job. But I think that was when Mourinho first came in. He was still trying to implement a philosophy, trying to implement a style of play. You can already see the, if you excuse me French, the shithousery he's implemented mentally into that team as well. I think the one thing which could hinder you would be the lack of Son and Kane.
Yeah. That takes 55 goals out of our season, pretty much.
55?
Yeah. If you do look at Harry Kane, he gets 30 goals a season, 25 to 30 goals a season. Son gets 20 goals a season.
Yeah, okay. So I thought you would be like, yeah, they've scored 55 goals between them.
No.
What?
No, I'm saying in the general course of the season.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think that's going to be interesting, but I think Bergwijn looks really good.
Yeah.
I think that Mora is always a dangerous character to have up front. And, Dele Alli, to be honest, I've not been impressed with him at all this season. But I think he's one who suffered from being young and being pushed into the squad.
Yeah, I mean, he kind of achieved way too much at a very young age.
Yeah.
He scored 18 or 19 goals in that season. But he always does well against Chelsea, loves to go against Chelsea like Dele Alli.
He does.
But also, Dele Alli, he's a player that you can just... He'll do nothing the whole game, but he'll pop up with a goal, he'll pop up with an assist. So, I don't have... In a game like this, that's what it's going to hinge on.
Well, that's it. I mean, what is he going to be, maybe the false nine?
Potentially. Against Leipzig, we played Lucas up front with Dele just behind him.
Mm-hmm. So a 4-2-3-1?
Kind of, yeah. It doesn't really work that much without a target man because we've got Toby Alderweireld lumping it up there when no one really feeding off the scraps. So it's very difficult to see how we can even score a goal at the moment. It really is. I just can't see it. And you've got your own goal scoring problems as well at the moment.
Well, Tammy Abraham might be available. If not, I mean, Michy Batshuayi was just...
You got Giroud. I can guarantee you Giroud is going to score the winner in this game.
You can guarantee it, yeah?
I can guarantee. It's just so obvious, you know.
Take that.
Spurs nailed on for Olivier Giroud. Next week he scores the winner against us. It's just so typical. But how do you see the game going?
It's difficult. You can't really predict these sort of games, can you? I think it will be a case of you lot will pile the pressure on. We'll do what we did against you last time. Hold our shape and kind of look for those counters. I think you'll go 3 at the back again. And I don't think that'd be a bad idea at all. Christensen might be unavailable because he went off against Man United. If he's not, you're probably looking at Christensen and Rudiger. And despite what was supposed to be Christensen being very lightweight, he actually proved to be a bit more of a bully against Manchester United. But I think it was kind of a case if he was up against Mason Greenwood. But I mean, at the same time, you've still got a small pacey striker to be up against again. If it's a 3, probably Zuma, and he's injured. Zuma, Tomori, Rudiger. Looking at Alonso left wing back, probably looking at we're looking at Reece James potentially as a right wing back, but if not, he'll be playing as standardised right back. He's a quality player.
He's had a very good season.
He's completely overlooked. People will talk about Wan-Bissaka and Trent Alexander-Arnold. In terms of completeness, he kind of takes both good qualities from those players and utilises them. Not saying he does it to the same level.
To the Euros.
I would take him to the Euros. I'd take him over Wan-Bissaka.
See, Wan-Bissaka's assist against you lot was dirty.
It was dirty, but how many assists does he get a season? He's not naturally gifted when it comes to going forward. Trent Alexander-Arnold, on the other hand, is unreal for that. But I think I can see in the long term, Reece James potentially pushing Trent Alexander-Arnold into a deep line playmaker role potentially.
Did you see that stat with Trent Alexander-Arnold in the Champions League last night? He gave the ball away the most times anyone's ever given the ball away in a Champions League match. How mad is that?
I mean, I think that's because they're pushing against a team which we're
just sitting back. Yeah, they were playing 2 banks of 4. That was it. But we're not here to talk about Liverpool. What's your score prediction?
Got back the boys, haven't I? I think you'll score.
Yeah.
I like 2-1 Chelsea.
2-1 Chelsea. I really don't want to give my score prediction for this one. I'm just...
Oh, so you make me give my score prediction when I never give score predictions, and then you're going, I'm not going to give one now. Yeah, I see how it is.
I never said I'm not going to give it. I said I don't want to give it. I just can't see a way that we're going to score. But you said, as you said before, you think that we're going to come at you, but that's just not the team we are anymore. Again, when we played you last time, we came at you because we were still in that Pochettino-Mourinho transition phase. Now we kind of sit back and then counter. We've got the pace on the counter with Bergwijn. We've got the pace on the counter with Lucas Moura.
I could see that. I think what might happen, is we just literally hold on to the ball and do what we've been doing for ages, and still play like we were playing under Sarri, which was just tip tap, tip tap, tip tap, tip
a bit
tap.
Sarri ball.
Oh mate. Oh, I mean, look. You could. It was something in transition. It didn't work. That's fine. But now it's a case of when you could go from here to here, instead of going from A to B, you go from A to Z to Z to B. So it's one of those where it's like, you know, it's one of those we're still trying to get out of that as well. Still play nice football, obviously, but I think if you guys keep your shape, we'll be tapping it around the box, and we might not be seeing what we need. But who knows? We'll have to see how the game develops.
I think the game is gonna swing heavily on the Tottenham defence. To be honest, if we can show up like we have done, you know, we conceded 1 goal to Liverpool. We kept a clean sheet against Man City. Our defence in the big games have been kind of holding out strong, with a bit of luck in there, has to be said as well. And Hugo Lloris playing blinders. So if we can replicate those defensive performances with Hugo Lloris playing a blinder as well, then I can see us maybe potentially nicking a 1-0, but a lot has to go in our favour for that.
A lot would have to go in your favour.
Yeah, a lot.
But I mean, it is Mourinho. It's Mourinho coming back to Stamford Bridge.
Yeah.
I don't like that. I'm already slightly worried.
What are your feelings on Mourinho, though?
I mean, we're in different stages of our careers as clubs, you know, all clubs and managers. You know, Mourinho, for me, achieved and built what Chelsea was.
Yeah.
He got us. It was his spine that got us that Champions League. It was his football that kind of made us develop and be strong over that 10-year period. Apart from maybe the 2-year period under Ancelotti, where it was beautiful attacking football, but you know, we were known to hold out and be strong. I'm not too bothered by him. It's going to be hard. It's hard seeing him in opposition dugouts because the guy's my hero.
Will you be bothered by him if we score a last-minute winner and he slides in front of the shed or whatever?
That would bother me. That would bother me.
Sitting.
That would bother me. But you know, he wears the shirt and the badge of the team that he works for at that point, and that's just the way he is. He has that mental fortress where it's kind of like, look, this is what we are. This is who I am. This is who I was, and he appreciates who he was, but he takes himself to those stages and goes, this is where I am now, this is where we need to win, and this is where I want to do my best. And you know, that's how it is. You know, that's it's professional.
Yeah.
You know, he's not going to say no to a job and not feed his kids. You know what I mean? I mean, obviously he's got millions and millions and millions, but you know, he's not just going to go, yeah, you know, I'm not going to take that job because of this. Because that's not who he is.
Yeah,
I just appreciate what he's done for Chelsea, and you know, now we're in opposition. It's just the way it is now.
All right. Well, there you have it. That is our match preview for the massive game coming up this weekend. There is 1 point in the top 4 title race between Chelsea and Tottenham, with Chelsea in fourth gone.
It's technically top 5 title race.
Well, yeah, let's wait till Man City get their thing overturned by throwing more brown paper bags at it. But anyway, yeah, that's your match preview. Head over to Louis' channel. The link will be in the description below to see another match preview where I will be going over to his channel. Like, subscribe and comment below. Tell me what you think the score is going to be. And as always, come on you Spurs.
No.